So the mini box leaks have almost made their arrival in the DLM website, and I wanted to talk about spheroids as I consider them to be a very good archetype. They have some very good cards, and they received this busted skill: clear wing acceleration. Each of the following effects can be used once per duel. You cannot normal special summon any monsters except synchro monsters or winged dragon type machine monsters. During the duel you activate the skill. To clarify, you can summon any synchro you want. You just can summon only synchro monsters and winged dragon or winged dragon machine type monsters from your decks, but that is perfectly okay. We don't care. You can summon any synchro monster you want. So if you control clear wing synchro dragon, you can play one speedroid red dice from your deck or graveyard to your field, which is very good. The second effect is send one speedroid tuner monster or synchro monster in your deck or on your field to your graveyard. If you send a synchro monster to your graveyard, play one clear wing synchro dragon in your graveyard to your field. That monster gains attack equal to the level of the synchro monster you sent to the graveyard, x200 until the end of the turn. So you can use both of these in the same turn, which is insane. They're both +1 effects, and this is giving me some Synchron vibes in terms of how powerful this skill is. Anyway, this skill makes this deck so much better, and it makes it able to achieve some very strong turn 1s and turn 2s. To start with the leaked cards, and the cards we already have, the best Speedroid card is without a doubt Speedroid Terrortop. Free special summon, adds any Speedroid monster. It's at 1 copy, and rightfully so. And from what I have heard, Crystal Wing will be in a bundle. It will be the limit one, which makes sense. I expected this to be a limit one, but it's at 1 copy, and at 1 copy, it's not like you can play it in any deck with Tak and Tomborg and be happy about it. Next card that's not a Speedroid card, but it may as well be, is Win the Wind Channeler. This card is always treated as a Chamber card. You can discard this card and one other wind monster, add a wind monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck to your hand, except Win the Wind Channeler. Also, you cannot activate monster effects for the rest of this turn except wind monsters. You can see that all the Speedroid monsters are gonna have this lock, except Terrortop, which is why Terrortop was played competitively in the TCG. And she has another effect: when a wind monster you control is destroyed by battle while this card is in your hand, you can special summon her. Doesn't really come up, but it's a good card nonetheless. Extra consistency and more copies of Terrortop. She's like the Speedroid Scratch of the deck. If we don't get this card hasn't been leaked, but it would make so much sense to give this as an SR copy. Like, it's a worse searcher than all of the searchers we have, like Resonator Call, Dark Lord Banishment, etc. Next card that has been leaked as an SR is Speedroid Takya Tomborg. If you control a wind monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can tribute this card as cost, special summon one Speedroid tuner from your deck. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except wind monsters. You can only special summon this card once per turn. This card is insane in its archetype. In competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! It was considered the brick you had to run for Terrortop, but in Speedroids, this card's crazy. It's basically insane. It's a free special that's searchable, gets you anybody you want. Very good card. The next card we have is an SR tuner that we get as a reward, Speedroid Card Turbo. If you control a wind monster, you can special summon this card. Also, you cannot activate monster effects for the rest of the turn except wind monsters. You can say that this lock is a bit strict, but it is what it is. And the second effect is you can banish this card and one Speedroid monster from your graveyard. All wind monsters you currently control gain 800 attack until the end of the turn. Very good attack boost, helps you get lethal, beat over bigger monsters. The level 3 doesn't really come up in the combos I have shown, but I am sure that someone will find a good use for this card. It's a good card, a tuner that is searchable and can extend, is always wanted. Next card is Kiteroid Double Yo-Yo. When this card is normal summon, you can target one level 3 or lower Kiteroid in your graveyard, special summon it. Very good card. Searchable with Terror Top as well, and this deck can play without its normal summon, so you can use this as your normal summon to extend plays, while in other decks you don't really get to do that. Your normal summon has to start plays, not extend them. Next card is Kiteroid Den Den Daiko Duke. This card has a revival effect while in the graveyard, and this makes it an excellent target for the Clear Wing Acceleration skill. Also, it's another level 3 tuner, but unlike Card Turbo, it doesn't extend. And the main tuner is Kiteroid Red-Eyed Dice. When this card is normal or special, you can target one Kiteroid monster you control and declare a level from 1 to 6. It becomes a level until the end of this turn. Keep in mind, this is not a once per turn effect, so hard once per turn effect, so you're gonna see that we're gonna be using this effect more than once. Other cards that we have are Speed Recovery, which is a monster reborn, and during your main phase, except that turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish it and target the Kiteroid and add it to your hand. This card is very good for recursion. However, the fact that you cannot use the second effect the same turn you can the first effect makes this card a little bit mid, but I expect some lists to run it. Keep in mind, it's not a once per turn on neither of the effects. Another leaked trap we get is the Redicycle, which targets the Kiteroid tuner in your graveyard, special summons it and negates its effects, but then you roll a 6-sided die and its effect becomes the result until the end of the turn. You can banish this card from your graveyard immediately after this effect resolves. You can synchro summon a wind synchro monster using monsters you control, including a Kiteroid tuner. So this card is a trap, which is weird. It's also, I don't think it's also searchable, so it's weird. I don't know if the deck will play this card. It doesn't need to, because it can make strong turn 1 boards already. So there we go. And another final card we already have is Kiteroid Horse Stilts. When this, it's like double yo-yo but summons from the hand and has an effect like Speed Recovery from the graveyard, that you can banish it and send one wind monster from your deck to your graveyard. You can only use this effect once per turn. This card is weird. It's not bad, but I don't think it's good in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! A Teen Goldfish effect isn't the best. As for the extra deck, we have two cards that we already have. High Kiteroid Kendama, which is a generic level 6. It deals piercing, it deals also effect damage, and it can special summon itself from your graveyard if you control no cards at the cost of your normal summon. This card is not the best actually for the deck. It's decent recovery, but you need to control no cards, which if you don't control any cards, you may die, or most likely dead. Then we have High Kiteroid Puzzle. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a special summon monster, you can make this card's attack become double its current attack. Not a bad effect, but 2600, that's not the biggest. And if this card is in the graveyard, because this single summon card was sent there from the field, you can target one Kiteroid monster in your graveyard, except High Kiteroid Puzzle, add it to your hand. Decent effect for recursion, but you need to invest 2 bodies in this and you get the return during the end phase, so I don't really think it's worth it. There may be some combos with it, but I haven't figured them out yet myself. Then we have the star, not the main star in my opinion, but still, Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. This card is not bad on its own, however it has a clear upgrade get the pun there, which we will be using this card to summon. So this card is a generic 7, good for Rose Dragon players, decent stat line. Once per turn, when another level 5 or higher monster activates its effect on the field, you can negate the activation if you do destroy it. That's already not bad. Once per turn, when a monster effect is activated that targets one level 5 or higher monster on the field, including this card, I accidentally clicked on Terratop, and no other cards, quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. If this card's effect destroys a monster, this card gains attack equal to the original monster's original attack until the end of the turn. So basically this card can be 2 monster negates in one, because you can negate a generic level 5 monster or higher effect, and you can negate something that targets this card, which is very decent. Both of the negates are situational though. However, Duel Links has a lot of targeting through monster effects, and Clear Wing can deal with these, so it's not a bad card. However, there is a main upgrade, which is Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, which requires 1 tuner and 1+ non-tuner synchro monsters, ideally designed to be made with Clear Wing and Red Eye dice, as you're gonna see. And once per turn, when another monster's effect is activated, quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy the monster. And if you do that, this card gains attack equal to the destroyed monster's original attack until the end of this turn. This negates any monster effect already, which makes this a very strong card with decent stat line. You got 3000 attack and 2500 defense. This card, and if this card battles an opponent's level 5 or higher monster during damage calculation, this card gains attack equal to the current attack of the opponent's monster it is battling during that damage calculation only. So this is also a finisher against level 5 or higher monsters, which is a very decent secondary effect. Yes, the first effect you're gonna have in mind is the negation, but keep in mind that Crystal Wing is also a very strong finisher. It resembles Darkwing Requiem Dragon, but Dark Requiem Exist Dragon, but it can be summoned way more easily, way much easier. My English is awful. I'm sorry for that. And then we have a Nassar card, High Speed Rate Chambara, which is another finisher for the deck. Decent finisher, 1 card follow up with Yo-Yo, with Terror Top. This card can make a second attack during each battle phase, so on its own it's game already in Duel Links. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles and gains 200 attack, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one of your banished speed red cards, add it to your hand. Keep in mind, this can get you back your Den Daiko Juke. This can get you back monsters that got banished off of Ice Dragon's Prison, which is a very decent card in theory against our deck, because it deals with the Yo-Yo Revive. It can banish pretty much anything. It can banish our dices, which is annoying. Then we have High Speed Droid Hagoita, generic level 5. During either player's turn, you can tribute this card, increase the levels of all monsters by 1 until the end of this turn. Keep in mind, this can mess up Xyz plays for some decks as a card on the field. However, it's not the ideal use for it. If this card is in your graveyard and you control a Speed Droid Tuner monster, you can special summon this card. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except win monsters. Basically, this second effect is the best part of the card. It's very useful in combos, as you will see. And then the final card that we have already received is High Speed Droid Kitedrake. This card is insane, and it takes 1 Wind Machine Tuner, which is a heavy requirement, and 1+ non-tuner monsters. If this card is synchro summoned, you can activate one of these effects, destroy all other cards in the field, negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent currently controls. So basically this card nukes the entire board, and you can get to this card very easily with this deck. And it has 2 very good effects. The first one being very strong against back row matchups, and the second one negating every monster even if they have protection, which is very good. You can negate, for example, a Dingirsu. If this card in your possession, which won't really come up in Duel Links since we don't have Solemn Strikes and such, but let's say this card gets hit by Roach. If this card in your possession is sent to your graveyard by an opponent's card, you can add on Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand. So if this card gets hit by Roach, you can search, for example, which is very good, because also if this card gets destroyed by battle, or if they send it to the graveyard via Dingirsu, you have a float, which is very strong. These are the monsters of the deck. Let's get to some standard combos we already have. This is the first combo, which requires just Terror Top, and this Terror Top can even be Yo-Yo, but let's keep Terror Top now. Okay, so we got a special Terror Top, and Terror Top will search our copy of Take Tomborg. We're gonna special summon Take Tomborg, and he will summon the dice. The dice will use its effect and target the Terror Top and make it a level 6. We're gonna make Clear Wing now, and we're gonna use a skill effect to summon the dice from our deck or graveyard. Remember, not from the hand, which can't come up. That's why we're playing two. I think that playing 2 dice will be optimal. And we can synchro summon into Crystal Wind Synchro Dragon, or you can make Kitedrake going second without your normal summon, which already makes a deck able to play around back row. That's the bread and butter turn 1 combo. If you just have Terror Top or Yo-Yo, basically your way into a Synchro 7, which is gonna be your Clear Wing. Then the second combo, apologies, I had already let this play a bit. The second combo includes Terror Top plus Take Tomborg or Terror Top plus Yo-Yo. We're gonna special Terror Top and search the missing piece. We're gonna special summon Take Tomborg, and we're gonna special summon the Red-Eyed Dice. Red-Eyed Dice will make Terror Top level 4, and we're gonna special summon the Baswell Wasp Azusa, the Ghost Bow. This is an insect tuner, which is needed, as you're gonna see, for our end board. That's its purpose in this deck. It's a winged synchro tuner. Then we're gonna normal summon Yo-Yo, and we're gonna special summon dice. We're not gonna use the dice effect, and we're gonna special summon High Speed Druid Hagoita. Now we're gonna use the first effect of the skill to send Den Daiko Juke to the graveyard from our deck. Keep in mind, this could also be in your graveyard via the Wind Channeler, but let's say that we haven't drawn this card in conjunction with Wind Channeler to search something, so let's say that we're just sending it from our deck with a skill, the minimum requirement. We're gonna activate Den Daiko Juke to special summon the Red-Eyed Dice, and we're gonna use the effect to make Hagoita level 6. We're gonna synchro summon our Clear Wing. Then we're gonna use the second effect of the skill. The fact that you can use all these effects in the same turn is insane to me. And then we're gonna summon back the Red-Eyed Dice from our graveyard or from our deck. Then we're gonna use Hagoita's effect, since we control a Speedroid tuner, to special summon it, and then we're gonna synchro summon into Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon and into Stardust Warrior. Because Stardust Warrior requires 1 tuner synchro and 1+ non-tuner synchro monsters. And its effect is, if your opponent would special summon a monsters, quick effect, you can tribute this card, negate a summon, and if you do, destroy that monsters. And during the end phase, if this effect was activated and not negated, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. This being able to negate pendulum summons in a format where odd dice starts gaining popularity is huge. That is why, even if it takes 3 extra deck slots, I think it's very good for your turn 1 board. And if this card is destroyed by battle, or if this face-up card leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, for example, let's say this card gets banished by Karma Cat, I don't know, we don't have a warrior for Ice Dragon's Prison. You can special summon one level 8 or lower warrior synchro monster from your extra deck, which is treated as a synchro summon. And there are targets for it. This we have Stardust Charge Warrior, which will draw you a card, which can be follow up. And anyway, this is a very strong turn 1 board with just 2 cards. Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon and Stardust Warrior negate summon, inherent summon, and negate a monster effect, plus gaining the attack, plus having game on board. Deck being able to summon Kitedrake without its normal summon going second. I feel like Kiteroid has all the potential to be a top tier contender in the future, but we will see. We haven't seen the whole leaks yet, the whole box yet, and if we get some of the cards I expect we get, Kiteroid is becoming better, and we may even have to look at a new best deck. But that's it for the video, guys. Have a nice day, everybody.